Hello, everybody. The April 22nd, April 22nd, 2025 Hibbing Public Utilities meeting is called to order. All commissioners are present with the exception of Commissioner Bayless. First item will be adds or deletes. Do we have any? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item, which will be approval of the minutes of the February 25th and March 20th, 2025 commission meetings. What would be the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Support. Got a motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Sandsted to approve the minutes of the February 25th and March 20th meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4, citizens forum. We don't have anything. Move on to item number 5, the consent agenda. Item 5A, approve invoices greater than $10,000 and approve the bills and ACH transfers dated March 13th to April 16th. Item 5B, approve the payroll paid and overtime report for the March 20th and April 3rd and April 17th pay dates. Item 5C, approve 2025 second quarter travel request. Item 5D, approve management performance adjustments. Item 5E, authorize submittal of the annual power plan for the terms of the Boswell Purchase and Market Entry Service Agreement with Minnesota Power.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Stokes.
I'd like to pull item 5D for discussion, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Stokes. Any other items? I'll make a motion to approve consent agendas, items A, B, C, and E. Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Chair Hart, support by Commissioner Sandsted to approve the remaining consent agenda items. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Stokes, item 5D, approve management performance adjustments.
Yes, Mr. Peterson, I thought of something this afternoon. Did we not hire Abdul to come in and do a full job description and upgrades for the utility? And where are we sitting with that?
Yeah, excellent question, Commissioner Stokes. Yes, we have hired Abdo to do a class and compensation analysis for all positions around the utility.
So where are we sitting? Do you know? 'Cause
Yeah.
wasn't that like in December?
Yes, we hired Abdo in December, if I recall, and we just met with them a couple weeks ago. And Commissioner Sandsted was able to join in on that call with them too and just get an understanding of where we are. They're waiting on some guidance from HPU to kind of provide information on our compensation philosophy, where we all want to do. But they've completed the initial categorizations of our positions from a point scale. And from a high level perspective for positions across the utility, we're between the 25th and the 50th percentile of comparable wages at a high level. Although I haven't seen all the details or been involved, we're waiting on kind of the right kind of engagement to continue on to complete that by the end of the year.
So given that, should these compensation packages not, or should be put off until this is completed because we have no idea where they're going to end up? Because you mentioned the process. I have a bunch of questions.
Sure.
On. My biggest concern is that job descriptions change after they're awarded jobs, and it seems to be happening quite often. And people get added job duties, and they get added personnel underneath them, and their base salaries are not reflected on that. So when you talk about a percentage increase, and some people got higher increases, and some people got lesser increases, I'm concerned about their base salary first before I'm concerned about the percentage increase in your pyramid.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people don't understand your pyramid, and so that's another question I got.
Sure. Yeah.
Let you answer one at a time. So.
Sure. Well, let me start from there. So it's been typical that we do annual adjustments for the management team at the beginning of the year based on performance. And so the performance, as I mentioned it in the packet, this isn't an entitlement, it's an annual true performance adjustment for the year. And the overall class and compensation study, where I understand is in the works, and we have some great analysis on. We're still live with that annual performance evaluation process, and so ultimately it's the commission's decision. I make my recommendation based on the processes that we've performed in the past, and for exempt employees that are have a high aligning incentives with performance is considered best practices. And so whether we continue on with that once we complete the class and comp study and the commission has a chance to really articulate in a different policy what and how it wants to award performance for the future, I'm going off of what we've employed in the past for these annual recommendations. And yes, I do believe that job duties are changing, and that's part of a growing organization, that the performance of somebody in their role needs to be consistent. And so there's many opportunities to evaluate salary in particular, and not just the performance review process at the end of the year. And as you know, we have a lot going on with the human resources and kind of redesign of a couple very key pieces. I think there was a desire from the commission at the working session to bring forward the recommendations now and not hold off until then. So I was kind of following that directive to get these adjustments out there. If the commission wishes to change course, I'm more than happy to follow the direction of the commission on that. But I do think that there are two different processes, Commissioner Stokes, that the adjustment and the overall position evaluation is one thing, and then to reward the high performers is another.
Commissioner Sansted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My recollection from the conversation with Abdo, it was probably 3 weeks ago, I'm thinking. It's been a while.
Yeah.
My understanding is they were pretty much done, and if they had asked for some piece of information from you, has that information been provided?
I
to
believe
Abdo?
I believe it has. Krista has been working with Abdo on that. Yes.
Okay, so I think I want to know what's reasonable to expect that final. I would have expected it by now, to be honest. I'm kind of surprised that we don't have the final by now based on when that conversation took place. So do you have any idea when we could legitimately expect it?
I believe there's a quite involved process between looking at the raw data they've compiled and coming to the final decision on the public utilities of what its target is for each role. So I believe Abdo is ready whenever we are. I think the process of getting the final decision points on where within that band, from where do we want to pay any of our salaries, from the 25th percentile to the 100th percentile, where is it that the commission wants to be? Those types of things will take time to decide, and we're not talking about just the exempt staff, we're talking about the union positions as well, and that's a broad conversation with the union that Rich and I just spoke today, and I think we're targeting to wrap up by the end of the year. So in my mind, again, these are two separate tracks. I'm happy to merge these two, but the whole completion of the comp and class study, I wasn't expecting to wrap up anytime too soon.
So I'm going to ask the question again. Do you have any idea when that would come?
I believe they can share the data with us whenever we want to see it. The steps to take that data to be helpful and adopt a true target, like we're going to target the 75th percentile of this salary. I believe implementing that will take time.
Sure. So right now, we do know that we're between the 25th and 50th percentile.
Correct.
So can we go into that system right now and see whose salaries are too low and whose might need to be adjusted? I mean, can you log in and look at that?
I do not know. I haven't seen that data. So I think we can ask for it for sure.
So if we can ask for it, how soon can we get it? Like, do we have access to the Abdo system?
I think it would be in a report that they would send us. So I think we were waiting, that's right, my memory is being refreshed now, Commissioners, that they were ready for an executive summary to send to us, which we should be able to get. Now that, sorry, I wasn't prepared for the question. I believe we should be getting that executive summary shortly.
I'm surprised we don't have that yet. I mean, on that call, it was like, she was pretty much ready.
Right, she
to
was
go.
ready. She was ready.
And it's been 2 or 3 weeks.
It has. And yes, I think we're ready for it.
Phone call tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll get right on that.
So, Mr. Peterson, did they receive all the information on each employee? Because you have changed, one employee has changed positions, but you've added job duties, and I know that you have another management employer that has had personnel added underneath them. So that information needs to be passed on for them to make a judgment on these positions, correct?
That's right. And so I believe, is Ms. Dickens here, when did we send the job data? I think we sent all that as soon as we did the approval, which was at the end of August. So all data would have been as of that time.
But we had some things that have transpired since then. We've had at least 2 jobs that have, one's changed and one's had personnel added underneath them.
That sounds about right, yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that information has not been passed on to them. So this is what I'm concerned about, is these floating job descriptions, which I've never been in favor of.
Right.
We have to have set job descriptions so you can make a good evaluation for the base wage, and then evaluation for performance after. Do you think that's the correct procedure, or what's your thoughts?
Yes, especially for non-exempt positions, union positions, where they are by nature more fixed. For exempt positions, I'd expect a little more fluidity, just, and in the short term, while you're in between cycles, look at performance as a way of measuring that. So, I think we have a lot of work to do with kind of making sure all of our compensation philosophies match all of our employee policies and all that work. And I think we want to make a decision on if we want to move forward with annual changes at this point or wait until we're closer. But I'm just worried about that taking too long. And we are a little bit behind as it is, and I think the intention between the ask at the last work session was to not hold back things that normally would have transpired at the beginning of the year, and work through the remainder of this year to kind of get everything updated so that by next year we're firing on all cylinders. So it's totally up to the commission's call.
And I'll take ownership of that, because I thought that people should be moved along, but since this happened, a lot of different information has come forward. So if you think Abdo is ready to go, do you think within the next commission meeting we could have this compiled and done totally for these people?
My honest opinion is we can target that. However, I think there could likely be other questions brought forward before the commission based on that. I'm just guessing. We might find one position's way out of whack and then one position's right on. So what I'm saying is I think we might have other issues to look at once we get all that information. And so, again, out of interest of not holding people back, and we're already a couple months behind, it's my recommendation that we move forward today with what I proposed, and then as we get additional information, continue to rectify what we need to rectify. I don't expect people to go down in wage, let's just put it that way.
No, I don't either, but I just want to make sure that this is fair from everybody, because there seems to be floating job duties amongst the managers, so I'm very concerned about that. So I'm confused about it also. Mm-hmm. So if I truly think that a month's time is not a long time. They're going to get retro back pay anyway. So I'd like to make a motion to table this to the next commission meeting.
Can we table to not the next one, but the following one?
I think if you table to the next, I think if you qualify and say table to the next action meeting versus because the other.
Well, that's why I meant action meeting, because we don't do it during the working sessions.
I think if you're making that qualification because our other meeting is simply discussion, I think that's fair.
Can I extend it to the
No,
No.
not on the table, no.
Okay, all right. I'll make my motion to table this to the next commission action meeting.
I would support that. Mr. Sampson?
Thank you. Andy, I have a question for you. If the commission needed more time and if we table it, then we have to take it up at our next actionable meeting, correct?
And so Commissioner Sandsted specifically has to whatever the general manager is recommending in this particular proposal. Yes, it needs to be taken up. However, if he has to tweak anything at all on any of them, then it's kind of fair game again to take it up. So if the general manager got information that said this one should be up or down a little bit, that would be a different action that you'd be taking versus, so it's simply the package he's presented this evening. That's what you're tabling.
Okay.
Any modifications of that, it's a new motion, different motion.
And if nothing were tweaked, but we needed more time to get the information from Abdo,
You at least need to take up the issue and address it and see where things are, because Abdo, as the general manager has said, they might have an executive summary done, but there might be questions you have once you read the summary. Might be an opportunity for you to then have to research that further.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Is there a chance, if this wasn't set up by the next working session, that we could have a separate session with Abdo addressing this if we have a bunch of questions? I don't know if that's a question for Andy. What, like, let's say Abdo doesn't have it ready for us by the next, like, to discuss during the next working session. And then all of a sudden, it's 2 days out and we have this meeting coming. And we have a bunch of questions.
So-
How quickly can we add another meeting to discuss that, or no?
So you need 3 days' notice to call a special meeting if you want to call a special meeting to address issues. If in fact you get the information just before the next action meeting and you really don't have time to process it, you're supposed to take action on his issue. But again, if you have outstanding issues and don't feel comfortable on it, you might want to not recess that issue for another meeting to address that. But again, it's specific as to exactly what the general manager has presented as his opinion tonight. If he gets information from Abdo and says in the interim, okay, well, based on that, I think maybe this needs to be tweaked, that's a different animal.
How do you recess an issue?
So,
Just by not acting on it?
well, you could just not act on it and let it die, and then you could revive it for another meeting.
That's, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, so I'd like to do this to put the pressure on Abdo and to get this resolved within a month, so that's why I asked if it was reasonable to get it within a month, so. And we can continue, as Mr. Borland said later on. If we have any more questions, we can.
Yeah.
Mr. Peterson, would you please call Abdo tomorrow and then please communicate with the commission what their expected turnaround time on an executive summary and most of the information
Sure.
that we need.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and support to table item 5D. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next will be financials and risk management, item 6A, approve the March 2025 interim financials. Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. We have the financials for the first quarter of 2025 in your packets, Commissioners. For the quarter ending March 31st, we had a total revenue of $11 million, which is up about $1.1 million from the same period last year due to the higher revenue due to a colder winter months of January and February. Operating expenses total $8.7 million, which is slightly up from last year of $8.1, again due to higher fuel and purchase gas expense. Operating income for the quarter totals $2.7 million, which is slightly up from $1.8 million at the same period last year. Overall, change of net position stands at $2.4 million compared with $2.1 million same period last year. So overall, things are moderately better than we were last year at this time. So overall, I think we're in a good financial position for start off in the year. and look forward to continuing the conversation on financials at the April 29th commission meeting next Tuesday, where we will present the 2024 annual audit and have preliminaries on the 2024 budget as well.
Mr. Peterson, I'd like to thank everybody involved and yourself for doing this. This is a wonderful thing, so thank everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, what will be the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Babbitt, support by Commissioner Stokes to approve the March 25th, 2025 interim financials. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6B, approved purchase of Hibbing Renewable Energy Center coal supply from DTE Energy in the amount of $41,885. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. Commissioners, before you is a recommendation for fuel purchased for the power plant, and that's coal from DTE Energy. DTE Energy historically has been who we bought in coal from when we need it. The last time we bought coal was in 2023, middle of the year, and we bought just over 200,000, just over 2,000 tons, quite a bit more than what we're buying here. So the price at that point was about $79 a ton. This is up slightly due to the smaller volume. And that amount of coal we purchased in 23 held us until just this last performance test we've done. So we feel that this will be enough to get us through next winter.
What is the cost per ton on this?
$83 a ton.
83?
Correct.
You want to take the motion and do some discussion after, or because I got a few questions?
I'll make a motion to make the purchase.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Chair Hart, support by Commissioner Stokes to purchase coal at the amount of $41,885. Mr. Stokes?
So, Mr. Pearson, just some things thought, are we keeping an eye on rail costs? And the reason I'm asking is we have a Leah yard with a railroad rail system right there. We'd have to put a spur system to our Leah yard, but these are things that I was wondering if we're looking into to keep an eye on it, and if that's feasible for us to do, if the price is that much of a difference.
We are not monitoring the details of buying coal in a full train ton currently, and we can continue to look at that. I think this request came out of just baseline operations of what we do right now of using coal primarily in a polar vortex type situation or a critical peak, and so this wasn't a big move for coal supply. This was just to make sure we had enough coal on hand for a couple cold weekends next winter and some performance tests. So this isn't a big strategic purchase out into the future. And I hear exactly what you're saying, Commissioner Stokes, that there's opportunities to continue to make sure we have low-cost coal in the event that we want to burn it. We've been recently not burning a lot of coal, and number one, due to cost, with the way the DTE has been needing to truck it up here. And there would be, at the Leah yard, for instance, we'd have to look at other ways of unloading. I'm really excited to look at that for the future, although this is kind of a small purchase just to kind of get us through next winter. So I think the team is very excited to look at other ways of procuring coal if we decide to generate in large quantities for the future and mix it with our supply of wood and gas at the power plant.
Yeah. And I understand that, not buying a big supply, but I'd like to keep an eye on that and the cost of connecting that current rail to our Leah yard for future use, because it'd be nice to have a cost exactly on what the coal purchase would be then in a larger scale in case of an emergency for a non-gas situation. So
I think these non-gas situations are going to be more and more of a situation in the future. So I think we have to prepare. Wood will help us, but there's nothing like having an abundant supply of cheap coal to burn. Unfortunately, what we've seen through DTE is that they've kind of pegged a price of natural gas, and the price of coal that they sell us is directly correlated to the price of natural gas. But so it means that we would want to invest heavily in infrastructure to be able to take our own rail. And the industry has moved to consolidation and closure, which has made prices unnaturally high for where we're at. So I think by exploring some of these strategic fuel sourcing projects like at the Leah Yard and others, we could really get a handle on it.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item 6C, approve purchase of stainless steel condensate piping for 23rd Street from the domestic supplier in the amount of $40,990. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. Commissioners, before you, just a request to purchase some condensate steel piping. We are requesting 1,000 feet of 4-inch Schedule 40 stainless. As the packet indicates, there were 2 quotes received from both a domestic and an international supplier. The domestic steel is more expensive, and because of the just the requirements of potential funding sources from Build America, Buy America, we're recommending the domestically sourced steel for purchase.
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Babbage to approve purchase of the stainless steel pipe in the amount of $40,990. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6D, Hibbing Renewable Energy Center capital improvements. We have budgeted expenses. First item will be to approve Novaspec Common Cabinet commissioning in the amount of $30,993.91. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. The first item for approval is the commissioning of the cabinet that we repurchased from Virginia Public Utilities and the needed upgrades to make it functional for the boiler blowdown system. The estimated cost is $30,933, and the budget for this item was included with the capital budget for the boiler to blowdown project that we looked at in October, along with the other 3 items in here as well. So looking forward to answering any questions you might have on the cabinet.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. I'll make a motion to make the purchase in the amount of $30,993.91. Is there support?
Second. Oh, I'll support if you.
Okay. Motion by Chair Hart, support by Commissioner Babbage. Approve the purchase. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next item, approve the purchase of 3 NPA 657 automatic valves from Novaspec in the amount of $37,773.26. Mr. Peterson?
Likewise, Commissioners, these are for the continuous blowdown side of the operation. So there's a series of 3 valves, and these are the valves that we're buying from Novaspec for that side of the project.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. What will be the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Support? I'll support. Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Babbage to approve the purchase of the 3 valves from Novaspec, amount of $37,743.26. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next item, approve purchase of 2 Fisher 1-inch Easy 667 automatic valves from Novaspec in the amount of $18,032.08. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. This request from Novaspec and the separate PO is for the boiler blowdown valves being built at the power plant currently, and the estimated cost is $37,743.26.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the valves for $18,032.08. Is there support?
Support.
Mr. Chair,
business?
I think you referenced the second item, and
Third
we're
item.
talking
Oh,
about two different items.
I'm sorry. The first one was for the boiler blowdown valves, and the second one's for the continuous.
We're on the third one.
We're on the third one.
Third one. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Third Nova spec item,
Oh,
second valve.
Okay. The two Fisher 1-inch Easy 667 valves for $18,036,
Same project.
right? Okay. So, yes, we are looking to purchase two Fisher valves for that amount.
Who supported that? Motion by Chair Hart, support by Commissioner Stokes to approve the purchase of the valves, the amount of $18,032.08. Any further discussion?
They gave a guaranteed time, so it'll coincide with our installation process. They'll be here before then.
I do not know that. I'll have to follow up with.
Please do.
I'm assuming, but I don't want to provide any incorrect information.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item 6E, award water main capital improvement. The project is from 17th Street to East 12th Avenue, 5th and 6th Avenue to award the project to Bagalis Incorporated in the amount of $3,038,585. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. Commissioners, ahead of you is the recommendation to approve a critical component of our 2025 water main projects that includes 17th Street, as we've advised. I'm joined by Josh Steyer from Bolton and Mink, our water engineer, who has conducted the design specifications for this project and managed the public bid. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Steyer to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. So as he was saying, we opened bids on April 15th. We received one bid. We did have a number of plan holders, and so I was a little surprised we only got one bid. It was from Bagalis Inc. in the amount of $3,038,585. This was about 4% over the engineer's estimate of $2,933,678.30. Overall, I still think it's a good bid. The numbers, generally align. It's within, it's within 10% of the engineer's estimate. It is a little bit above, but overall, very comfortable with working with Bagalis on this project. They've done a number of projects already for us, very similar in scope. There's some directional drilling, some open cut water main, hydrants, valves, that type of thing. This project's a little bit different in the sense we are doing full street replacement on a couple of them. Just it warrants it with all the service connections throughout the project, and just the density of the service connections, it just makes sense to replace the whole street instead of, ended up with a bunch of patches. So overall, it'd be my recommendation to the commission, if deemed financially feasible, to award it to Bagalis Inc.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Sandsted to approve the capital improvement water main project to Bagalis Incorporated in the amount of $3,038,585. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, 6F. Authorize request for proposal 25-10, distribution ground line inspection. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. Commissioners, about 10 years ago in 2015, a study was done to determine the health of the power poles that are about 4,500 around the city. It is best practice that we do a continuous evaluation of the ground line and the structural integrity of each power pole. And the process that we're requesting is to go out for proposals to come back and make a recommendation at some time later this year for a item in 2026 to make sure that we are being proactive with regards to replacing our distribution poles. As you can imagine, an aged distribution pole is more susceptible to falling over and creating a hazard, and so it's industry best practice to do these inspections on a fixed cycle between 5 and 10 years so that we can continually maintain and stay on top of aging infrastructure. So with that, recommending moving forward with our ground line inspection. At least getting quotes, or a proposal to bring back for the commission to review next year.
So, Mr. Peterson, wouldn't it be better just to spend this money just actually replacing poles?
It's important when you replace that you look at the quality of the pole. And I think Samantha is here. Maybe Samantha, if I can ask you up to the podium to kind of talk about best practices with regards to just spending the money on actual pole replacements versus a prioritization based on a study.
And the follow-up question will be, have we done this inspection? And after the inspection, have we actually replaced the poles?
Yes, the inspection was done in 2015. The poles were replaced. That is 100% complete. The work is typically done within a year. There's different types of poles that are identified during the inspection. Some are considered danger poles that are reported within 24 hours and done more emergently. The practice of the inspection and the pole replacements is a recommendation that was noted in the letter, more of an industry standard, but we do have rebuilds on the overhead system that are in the works that are, there's 3 feeders that we see in the near future. One is feeder 50 being done right now. That's being excluded from the inspection because we intend to completely rebuild there. The other 2 feeders that we have identified for the short or near future, we would exclude them from the inspection as well. But happy to explore the option of even estimating crew labor and material versus the inspection.
So if I could summarize, Chair, you could do that, but this helps you make sure that you're attacking the most danger targeted poles. I think, I don't remember the numbers off the last poll study, but I believe there were over 200 what they would call red tag poles identified in 2015. Those were the priority replacements, and that was really important because if one of those poles fell down in a windstorm and caused some damage, you know, we wanted to make sure that wasn't going to happen. So we kind of, it was target those high priority poles, and those are the poles we replace. And sometimes it, based on my limited experience with this, some of the poles look bad, but down below foundation is really bad, really good. Some poles look fine, but the foundation is bad, and I think that's what the ground line inspection identifies. And remember, we're just going out for proposals right now, that we're not committing any funds yet. And so based on that, we'd look forward to bringing back additional information.
Yeah, could I make one more comment as well? As maintenance is identified during the ground line inspection, so the areas where there's maintenance that could be done as opposed to an entire replacement, that's less expensive, and you know, it expands the lifespan of the pole, and it's up to yeah, however you want to move forward, we're happy to accommodate.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and it's not lost on me, it's a request for proposal. So, the wish of the commission.
Motion.
Motion approved.
That's fine.
Motion by Commissioner Babbage, support by Commissioner Sandsted to authorize request for proposal 2025-10 distribution ground line inspection. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6G. Approve Bolton and Mann Construction Services for the 2025 construction season. Mr. Peterson.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Hart. Commissioners, ahead of you is a quite large proposal from Bolton and Mink, and we like them, and but I think we have to be, you know, kind of sober with the overall cost of our water projects. But with that, I'll ask Josh Steer to come up. Steyer, sorry, Josh. Steer, right? As long as we work together. And also, so commissioners, we do have a very substantial budget and projects for water projects around the city this year. I think our overall budget is around $8.5 million for water projects that we're currently working And the scope of services proposed by Bolton and Mink here is for the construction management pieces of that, as well as the 30-inch water main project that we started in February. So with that in mind, I'd like to direct any particular questions to Josh Steyer as we move forward. So.
Yeah, I guess I would build on that too. You know, the goal since we did the capital improvement plan has been 2% a year. You know, I think in 2025, today I measured we're doing 18,000 feet of water main rehab or replacement. So that's almost 5%. So that's a huge number. It's a lot of work, but we're here to help get it done. So it is a bigger construction services number, but I think it matches the scope of work before us.
Mr. Chair, thanks. Just looking through this, at our working session where we were talking about other projects and talking about, I think it was the design work, maybe not design, I'm not sure. But we kind of had done some negotiations with you. We talked you down and then we put a pause on that. That is not this project, correct? Or
So-
is it involved, is it included in this project?
The design of the additional work that Commissioner Stokes spoke of is included in this.
And did we get the discount that we had negotiated at the working session?
Remind me on the specifics of the,
$100,000. $100,000.
so my design fee for that additional work is listed at $60,000. So I think we're under that.
You think or you know?
I mean, Mankato math, that 60,000 is less than 100. So that's design of the 30 from the golf course to First Avenue. Also, we're going to design it to the Riverside addition as well.
So if we approve this as it is, you're saying basically we're going to be paying $60,000 where before we had pretty much had $100,000 taken off the project.
100, I'm not following the context of the 100.
I feel like your number on this one came down,
Yes,
but it was still a better deal before. And so I'm hoping you'll match that deal,
okay.
is what I'm hoping you'll do.
And it also included, what we originally talked about is from the 30-inch west to First Avenue.
Yes,
So that was in there also.
yes, that's
So that's in that 60,000 also?
correct. Correct.
So, what'd you call it, St. Cloud math?
Mankato.
Or Mankato math? Okay. So you're willing to give $100,000 up on that project before, and now you're at 60 for the,
Correct.
that's the bottom line.
Doing some additional thought through the process on what it's going to take to put everything together, the construction method we're going to approach. I'm confident we can put those plans together for 60,000. So,
I think you probably could have done it for what we had talked about before, but,
so
okay.
Okay, well, good. Any other questions for Josh? No? What will be the wish of the commission?
I'll make a motion to approve. We can discuss if you'd like to.
So I'll second it. I like that. I really wish we could know more about the conversation we had at the working session regarding this context.
Mr. Chairman, you were absent, right?
No.
You were here at the working session?
I just can't recall. I mean, I know we discussed the price, and I just want to make sure that I just don't have it in front of me, and we don't have minutes from it, correct?
Well,
I
this
did
is,
second it. I just started talking after I said
That's okay.
this is a not to exceed number, so.
Correct.
I believe things will go well for us. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
it.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next item we'll be moving on to policy and governance. First item will be item 7A, adopt the policy manual for federal grant compliance. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Chair Hart. Commissioners, one of the discussions we've had with our auditors was as HPU increases its amount of federally stipulated funds and federal grants, we had over $3 million in 2024, that it's best practice if we adopt a federal grant compliance policy. The compliance items that are listed in the policy, we are already in compliance of, and we prove that every time when we ask for a disbursement. The auditors suggested that we adopt a specific policy for federal grant compliance just to make it particularly clear, and it also, when we get time to actually apply for the funds or to get the funding request, that it's there. The policy is relatively straightforward. It mimics a lot of the existing compliance requirements we have under state law for funds. It just kind of lists it out specifically as required for the federal funds. And so we have a number of grants from both FEMA that we've received in 2024, the PFA loan disbursements, as well as additional federal transportation dollars that we've applied for and been awarded recently with a $750,000 State Department of Transportation Fund grant. So having a policy in place that targets federal grant compliance is recommended by the auditors, and I've run this policy by them and they have approved it. So with that, I'd recommend the commission adopt this.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. What will be the wish of the commission?
I'll make a motion.
Support. Motion by Commissioner Sandsted, support by Commissioner Babich to adopt the policy manual for federal grant compliance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 7B, accept notice of retirement from Terry Garrity. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, commissioners. This employee has served the HPU for 40 years, and we wish him well on his retirement, and it's due and proper that we bring his notice of retirement to the commission for final acceptance.
Mr. Stokes?
Make a motion for approval.
I'll support that. Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Chair Hart to approve the retirement of Terry Garrity. Any further discussion?
I would just like to say thank you for the many years of service.
On behalf of the commission and myself, I'd like to say thank you to Terry. I worked with him for 35 years, and I appreciate what he did.
Well, yes, we appreciate all the years of service Terry has given to the Hibbing Public Utilities. He'll be greatly missed. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 7C, declare vacancy, approve job description, and internal posting for electrical maintenance and instrumentation crew leader. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, commissioners. In the February meeting, Terry was appointed to the instrumentation and electrical maintenance crew leader position. That with his retirement, that position will now be vacant. By declaring the vacancy, we would then have the ability to post internally for filling that replacement.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. What will be with the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Stansted to post for the electrical maintenance and instrumentation crew leader. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 7D, approve updated job description and external posting for the accounting analysis. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. Commissioners, we had recently offered a position to an individual for this position that was no longer able to meet the position that we offered her. So with that, we are re-advertising that same position, and we look forward to restarting that whole process again. In the process, there were a couple updates to the job descriptions to allow kind of some more finance generalist job in there and maybe a little less payroll focus, which was in the original one. I would classify these as kind of just finer points on the job descriptions and not any structural changes. So with those changes, I'd like to move forward the job for advertising.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Mr. Babbitt?
Where are we advertising, what, if approved?
Ms. Dickinson, are you in the audience here? Could you please step up to the podium and mention where we are advertising? I believe the standard places we have been is government MN jobs and the MMUA website, but I believe there's a few others.
Sure. Yeah, so typically we've advertised on different platforms for different positions. If there's something job specific or an angle we can take to have direct outreach for a specific skill set. However, our website and then social media we use to advertise the positions as well, like Facebook, LinkedIn. We've recently integrated Indeed into one of the posting sites that we can use as well, although it is cross-posted from League of Minnesota Cities careers portal. MMUA also has a nice website that lists career opportunities in the area that we'll work with. And then again, there's a couple other that are one-offs, but for this job, that was the handful that we advertised on.
It's just out of curiosity, when we previously posted, did we have any other applicants? that we
Yes.
could reach?
Yeah, we actually, with the last recruitment effort, we did actually interview a second candidate as well who had similar qualifications. And outside of that, I hadn't had any applicants.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. My question is for Mr. Peterson. When you talked about the updates that were made to this posting, my understanding, I guess I want to know a little bit more about that. Like, the reason the candidate we had hired didn't fulfill the position, you know, there was a personal circumstance that occurred. What transpired in there to update the position from the last time we hired?
Yeah, I think it was just a conversation with the internal team about the job description details. In there, I think there was a lot of payroll processing in the older job description that we felt was kind of summarized better. So I would say it was on the finer points of the job description and not overall substantive.
And that all happened as a result of this person not being able to come? or-
No, in my view, and I haven't discussed this a lot with the team that brought forward to it, the two are not related at all. One was general housekeeping and the other one was unfortunately a situation transpired.
Okay.
Good motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support.
Motion by Commissioner Babbitt, support by Commissioner Stokes to approve the job description and external posting for the accounting analyst. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 7E, approve hiring of electrical maintenance and instrumentation technician. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Commissioners. As you're aware, the Commission has advertised externally for the electrical and instrumentation maintenance technician. HPU has interviewed Doug Hobbs, and we're happy to bring forward his recommendation. Doug has also joined us in the audience. there. He's not looking forward to coming to the podium, but, you know, he might if you ask him to. But anyway, just really the number of commissioners here, along with our existing crew leader, Warren, was able to interview him and was very impressed with his background and having worked in an industrial setting. And when I mentioned to him last week that we'd be, if he was willing, bringing forward his name for consideration, I told him about the process and the unique nature of being in a public utility where these decisions are made on an open mic and in front of a live camera. He was not afraid. So thank you, Doug, for coming. And if the commission accepts my recommendation, hopefully joining the public utilities.
Make
Thank
a
you,
motion
Mr.
to
Peterson.
approve.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Sandsted to hire Doug Hobbs for the electrical instrumentation maintenance technician. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Welcome to HPU, Doug.
Welcome.
Next item. Approve hiring of the 2025 summer student recommendations. Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Commissioners. In your packet is a list of our 2025 recommendations for hires for the summer students, and you know, very proud of our returning students that are coming back for a second year. And then from what I've heard from the crew that's reviewed the applications, we have a very talented pool of new recruits as well. So as you all know, I was taking credit for the Hibbing High School hockey team going to state this year due to the number of players we had in the summer student pool. But I think it talks about the benefits of being a tight local community, that we can support our youth in both their professional and other areas by teaching them about utility service and the services that we provide, and also educating them about hard work and what it needs to run this community. As our employees do, they provide excellent mentors and coaches to these kids that apply not just in their academic, but also their other aspects of their lives. So very happy for this incoming class of 2025 summer students.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Any support?
I'll support.
Motion by Commissioner Sandsted, support by Commissioner Stokes to approve the hiring of the applicants we've been provided for summer help. Any further discussion?
I do have one question. If there's the need for additional hires, do they just come forward later then, or we're not limited?
We're not limited, that's correct. I'd encourage others, if they didn't get on the list, to put in their application. It's still on our website. And as schedules kind of work out, a lot of these kids aren't full-time, so finding the right mix of folks, and we're never one to turn away good talent. So.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Next item under old business, approve advertising externally for electrical maintenance and instrumentation technician. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Commissioners. This is an item that was discussed at the March 20th meeting, and bringing it forward as old business.
Okay, I have a question, but do you want a motion first, or?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, just, good.
So we talked about a position, and just I want to make
Yeah.
sure I'm understanding this correctly. We had two positions discussed at that meeting. One, we decided to post externally for, which we have hired for tonight.
Correct.
The other position we took no action on.
That's correct.
So the position, this position that we're looking at, this item, is the item we did not take action on?
That's correct.
Okay, so we still have another position that needs to be posted with the vacating of, well,
Yes,
potentially?
yes. It's so well, I had thought I could bring forward the new position as well, that because somebody's, I
Yes.
hope, vacating that position that was upgraded to the crew leader
Okay.
position. We have to follow the process.
Yes.
And that starts by not assuming that that person is gonna vacate that technician role.
Very good.
And so, assuming that person does go into the crew leader position, that technician position would be open at that time, and
Yes.
it would be posted internally.
Okay, so just again, this position is the one we did not take action on in March.
Correct.
All right,
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Babbage, to approve advertising externally for the electrical maintenance and instrumentation technician. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, new business. Committees.
So, the commission has, requested multiple times that we discuss committees, and I just did not want to miss an opportunity to discuss this again. And I had sent an email a couple of weeks ago about the number of committees that we have, and just in order, following due process, wanted to make sure that we had this as a discussion item at tonight's meeting, and looking forward to commission input on the process and which committees it wants to create, and move forward.
we don't have a list?
Trying to find it right now.
Yeah, I did send the list a while ago. There's a variety of different committees that we have. Some are kind of standing committees that we're already, working on, labor management, safety committee, and then I think the union has an insurance committee as well that meets. Also, there's nothing precluding the creation of any other additional new committees. And at a time in the past, there was a finance committee, a personnel committee, a power supply negotiation committee. There were lots of different committees that have started and not proceeded. So it's really up to the commission and how it wants to move forward.
Sure. Just my input here is I don't want to have 14 different committees deciding when we change light bulbs, things like that. I mean, my big issue would be addressing that we have a personnel committee. Like, as far as today or in the next meeting, if we can at least get a personnel committee going, so that way, any issues, we can have a group of peers that someone can come and talk to. Possibly a hiring committee. That's my two that I would like to see. I mean, other than that, I don't think we need a transmission line theory committee or anything like that. I don't know what your thoughts are, guys.
Commissioner Babbage, I'm in agreement with you. I think those are two committees that should be formed tonight.
So the personnel committee, would that be both for union and exempt employees?
That is a very good question.
Yeah.
I felt with I guess my take on it, and again, I don't want to offend anybody, but as a member of the union, you have ways to address problems with management, whereas our exempt employees, where our exempt employees do not. So I feel that at this point, for me, it would be more for exempt, as the non-exempt all have the ability to file a grievance and take things up the ladder.
Exactly.
I would agree with that.
I agree.
Okay.
So, Mr. Babbage, are you looking for, what are you talking, two commissioners? One commissioner? What's the commission think?
I mean, I'm thinking if we might as well have two commissioners, and then I don't know, them working with the staff to decide who else would be in on that.
So, Mr. Peterson, would you pick your staffing for that from the management side?
Sure, yes.
Okay.
I'd make a motion, I'd form a personnel committee consisting of 2 managers, 2 commissioners.
Now what?
I think, I'm not the procedural person here, but I think you gotta vote on it.
I second that then.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Stokes and support from Commissioner Babbage to create a
Personnel.
labor
Personnel.
Personnel committee.
personnel committee. Okay, a personnel committee for issues with the exempt employees. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
How do we figure out which commissioners are on it, or is it just rotating? Like, if we have to be called in, would we just,
Normally, I think you'd see that, so that the general manager, I'm assuming, probably be the person that'd be reaching out to you if there's an issue, or at least to let the exempt employees know who's on the committee, that you guys would designate who are the 2 commissioners who sit on that committee. And then the general manager would have to get back to those 2 to say, oh, and here are the selections from the staff that are gonna make up that committee. So the committee is already there and ready if in fact an issue comes forward versus having to scramble to get it together then. That would be my recommendation, I think, to make more sense.
I'll make a motion that Jesse Babbage be the first person on the committee.
Can I ask a serious, I'll second that for discussion, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So, are we discussion? Would it be fair to let the chairman appoint the 2 if they're interested? I mean, I'll volunteer for any committee because I am free most of the time. I know a lot of people have work situations, but would it be fair to have the chairman appoint committee members?
Doesn't matter to me. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know how the rest of it, and bear in mind that Mr. Bayless isn't here tonight either, so.
I'm fine with that. Yeah,
Commissioner Sansi?
I'm okay with that.
okay. So I rescind my motion.
I'll rescind my
You're
second.
off, Jess.
Would you make a motion?
I'll rescind my second, thank you. We move on to the second committee, just Mr. Babbage, Commissioner Babbage.
So it's sorry,
Make a motion that the commission choose the personnel committee? Do we need to do that first?
That's the one we just did.
We just,
Okay, we did,
Yep.
okay. All right.
You- Commissioner Babbage wanted,
a
second,
motion that the chair appoint? Okay.
Right.
Then we need that motion.
okay,
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
I'll make a motion that the chair appoint 2 commissioners for the personnel committee.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Sandsted, support by Commissioner Stokes, that the chairman of the Hibbing Public Utilities Commission appoint the personnel committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Babbage, would you be the first person on the personnel committee?
certainly.
Thank you. I gotta have a discussion, before we appoint the second person, so. All right, any other new business for the commission?
There was 2 committees you were interested in?
Well, I was thinking about the hiring committee, and I guess I was kind of hoping maybe that Commissioner Stokes or Hart would elaborate on how to properly do that, because I do not have any experience in hiring. And, for example, Commissioner Stokes, I know he sat on an interview recently, so maybe we could discuss that with the general manager on how that might look.
I'd like to make the same motion for a hiring committee then,
Yeah.
and to have the chairman appoint. As a matter of, let's do the hiring committee first, and then I'd like to make a motion for the chairman for all committees, if that's okay with the commission. So we don't have to make a motion for the chairman for every committee. So I make a motion for the commission to appoint 2 members to the hiring committee.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Babbage, that the chairman of the Hibbing Public Utilities Commission will appoint the 2 members of the commission for all committees. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
And that should cover us for future committees then, correct?
Yeah.
Am I-
Andy, am I correct?
Any
That's
committees that
correct.
may come
Any
future, he
other
could-
committees to establish.
okay.
So one of the conversations that we had kicked around was also having somebody on the labor management committee, which is already in existence, and I would like clarification. I understand that, my understanding is that there's already a commissioner that was assigned to that, but has not been invited to that. So, do we have somebody who was assigned to the labor management team, a commissioner
Yeah.
assigned to the labor management team?
Not to my knowledge, that we don't have a commissioner that's been designated
Okay.
yet. But I won't speak on behalf of the union. So I'm an ex officio member, so I'm not a voting member of that committee. But I believe that the committee would welcome any commissioner participation whenever, it works sense. We have a kind of a set schedule right now, but we'd be happy to, again, not speaking on behalf of the committee because I'm not a chair or do I vote on that committee, but I believe I'm speaking for the will of the committee that they'd be willing to welcome a commissioner and make that commissioner be a permanent member of the committee.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, that committee was actually from the past. I know most of these
okay.
committees were from the past where we had 3 commissioners. Now we have 5 commissioners, so
Okay.
would it be okay for the commission to allow up to 2 commissioners per committee? To allow doesn't necessarily mean you have to have 2, but to allow 2 because we are no longer in violation of the open meeting law.
I don't know if we need a motion, that kind of goes without saying, I
Yep,
think.
we just want to make sure everybody's in agreement with it, that's all. So,
Want to make a motion? Dennis is clarified.
all right, I'll make a motion that
Okay. Up to
the
2.
commission allows up to 2 people on all committees,
Up to 2 commissioners.
or 2 commissioners, excuse me.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Babbage to allow up to 2 commissioners on each committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And just, Chair,
Yeah.
I just noticed here that I finally found that email that, and obviously you guys could have told us, but I'll let us know is that the labor management meets on the first Wednesday of each month, 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. So, for those that want to be on it.
Perfect. Any other new business? Hearing none, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Babbage to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.